So after a considerable period, probably we have met again today. In between, there have probably it was around 4 or 5 months time in between. For some reason or other, we have not been able to sit together in this platform. However, we have resumed today and will be continuing. So today's caption line, as you see, this has been from book 2, Canto 10 of Savitri. So first I'd like to read out the whole passage, then we'll be dwelling upon it. This too must now be overpassed and left, as all must be, until the highest is gained, in whom the world and self grow true and one. Till that is reached, our journey cannot cease. Always a nameless goal beckons beyond. Always ascends the zigzag of the gods, and upward points the spirit's climbing fire. This breath of hundred-hued felicity and its pure heightened figure of time's joy, tossed upon waves of flawless happiness, hammered into single beats of ecstasy, this fraction of the spirit's integer, caught into a passionate greatness of extremes, this limited being lifted to zenith bliss, happy to enjoy one touch of things supreme, packed into its sealed small infinity, its endless time-made world outfacing time, a little output of God's vast delight. The moments stretched towards the eternal now, the hours discovered immortality, but satisfied with their sublime contents. On peaks they seized, whose tops, halfway to heaven, pointed to an apex they could never mount, to a grandeur in whose air they could not live. So this is the passage we are talking about. Now let us see. This too must now be overpassed and left, as all must be, until the highest is gained, in whom the world and self grow true and one. Till that is reached, our journey cannot cease. In fact, man in the course of his evolutionary journey, he reaches many a station, and each station is a halting place for him. But however attractive and satisfying it may be, man or the traveler in this case, like Aswapathy, so he cannot linger there, he cannot stay put in that station, and he is obliged to move on further and on and on till he arrives at the terminal, that is the destination, the highest, where the full truth of all is gained, where, in other words, where that plane is the reconciling truth itself. We have many truths operating in the manifestation, but all are partial. And that is why when someone continues his journey to reach the goal, the highest, where everything he can reconcile, he cannot linger in a particular phase or station, or he has to move on and on till he reaches that destination, which is the final one for which he has been striving. So Aswapathy has been in the satisfying paradise of the life gods, as we had discussed in our earlier session also, where all is peace, light, harmony, everything is there. But he cannot stay there forever, and he sees that that too is a stage which he has to leave behind and move on to have more experience, to be in those spheres, those realms where he has not trodden, or for that matter, man has not trodden, because Aswapathy is the pioneer in this case, the protagonist in Sri Aurobindo Savitri. He is a pioneer for the mankind who is taking up the journey for the first time, and he has to move on and on. Always a nameless goal beckons beyond. Always ascends the zigzag of the gods, and upward points the spirit's climbing fire. The path does not stop at any of the points on the route to destination, which remains unknown to the traveler, that is Aswapathy. So he moves on, travels on, still in the belt of ignorance. And each station is the point from where he continues again. This breath of hundred-hued felicity and its pure heightened figure of time's joy, tossed upon waves of flawless happiness, hammered into single beats of ecstasy. This fraction of the spirit's integer, caught into a passionate greatness of extremes. This limited being, lifted to zenith bliss, happy to enjoy one touch of things supreme, packed into its sealed small infinity, its endless time-made world outfacing time, a little output of God's vast delight. The being is indeed delighted beyond limits, while in this world of uninterrupted joy and felicity, however small it may be compared to the infinity of the Supreme, so it is permitted to taste the bliss of the eternal and the boundless past. However, all this is only a fraction of the immensity of God's delight. Fraction because there awaits for him more delight, more vastness, towards which he will have to go and find the plane in which all is reconciled. That is the truth. The moments stretch towards eternal now. The hours discovered immortality, but satisfied with their sublime contents, On peaks they seized, whose tops halfway to heaven pointed to an apex they could never mount, to a grandeur in whose air they could not live. Time appears, stands still, and immortality is unveiled. However, life reaches its zenith halfway to the divine heavens and climbs no farther. So it is content with its glory. That happens for man. Man becomes satisfied after reaching the pinnacle, the summit, and thinks that is the end of it. But if he is a little observing, if he wants to delve deeper, then what he will see, the summit also points, the pointing summit, pinnacle, that is pointed towards something more higher above. So this way, Aswapathy has been journeying to find new horizons one after the other because he is spearheading the movement of ascension towards the highest truth where all is reconciled. Here we live in half-truth, partial truth manifested in the universe, and that is why there are problems galore for each one of us. But to find out the truth, Sri Aurobindo has taken up this mammoth work of transformation, which he started in himself and along with him the Mother Divine, whose embodiment is a great opportunity for all the people living on earth, because she, in fact, the Mother, Divine Mother herself, is the source of everything. And even though she is the source of everything, the Supreme Consciousness, remaining in the highest realms, the eternity, even she cannot do anything. That is why the embodiment was necessitated. And that is why we see the Divine Mother taking birth as a physical human being like you and me. And that is also precisely what Sri Aurobindo does. And that is why in this chaos, in the whole world, in every field, when we cannot see anything but darkness and disintegration in every field, there itself the divine, the supreme divine light has descended in two human body. We know very well that avatars come to lift up the humanity, the race, human race, to the next level of consciousness. They always come. But then, earlier, what used to be, even those avatars were, or even those avatars had their limitations, where they had to perform in a limited sphere. That is, remaining within the powers of overmind or from the planes below overmind. Now, we see a different picture altogether when Aurobindo and the mother have come down. They are not representing the overmind but the supreme consciousness. In fact, after they have embodied themselves on earth, they brought forth the powers of the supermind, that is the highest ever plane of consciousness, even above the overmind, which is the linking supermind, which is the linking principle between the highest and the lowest. That is why the mother herself is a link. That is why she is called the golden bridge, the wonderful fire. Sri Aurobindo has given this epithet in Savitri itself. She is the golden bridge, the wonderful fire, the luminous heart of the unknown is she, a power of silence in the depths of God. So, when she has embodied herself and along with Sri Aurobindo, both of them spearheaded the whole movement, the whole process of precipitating the yoga for earth nature to a different level altogether. And it is for us to see now, maybe within the next 200 or 250 years or whatever may be, we cannot, harp on time exactly. But then still we can hope, and in fact the assurance has already been given by Sri Aurobindo. Only what is important, what has been stressed by both of them, Sri Aurobindo and the mother, that we should also be one-pointed in our pursuit of the truth, the manifestation of the truth. And for that to happen, what we'll have to do, we'll have to start it in our life, in our daily life. In spite of our limitations, in spite of our shortcomings, in spite of the difficulties, even the extreme of it, in those situations even we will have to have the calm certitude what the mother herself protrudes, and keep on going, relying solely on her help, on her guidance, and looking upward, looking forward to a bright future for earth, the dawn of a new life on earth, that is the life divine. And that is surely waiting for us at the end of the tunnel, even though we may not see with our physical eyes what is going to happen. And a lot of us people, we always doubt, remain in confusion. Now, no need hereafter to remain in doubt, because that is a certainty which is taking shape very, very concretely, and only time will show us the truth of it. And even the most unbelieving, most confused, all of them will be obliged to, all of them will be obliged to not only see but experience also in their own life what is the truth and how is it manifesting. So that's it for the day, and we'll be taking up more in the coming days. Not only Savitri, but also from some other quarters, people are asking for Assamese discussions also. We'll be taking up differently, of course, and we'll continue as always. Thank you so much. Jai Ma.